Welcome. It's my first lunch and learn at WeWork, so I'm excited. My name is Chirku. I'm a performance coach, and this is actually a new adventure for me. I've been in tech industry for 16 years, and I decided to resign last year to follow my passion, which is coaching people and helping them succeed. And I love what I do. So hopefully today you're going to walk away with something that you can take and apply immediately. I'm a big fan of that. I don't like theory. I like applied science or applied information so that you can take it, and whether you want to apply it into your relationships, your work, your health, it really doesn't matter. It's what's important to you. So that's the kind of context that it can come from. And I have a guest speaker. I'm actually really fortunate to have this guy here. His name is Scott Chreist. And in a minute I'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself. But Scott is actually got a very innovative way of helping teams and small companies perform better and build leadership within their teams. And he's got what do you call it? An obstacle park? What do you call that?
Zipline Adventure Park.
Zipline Adventure Park in Whittenville. So if you haven't heard of Adventura, you can definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. So Scott, you want to say a couple words?
My name is Scott Chreist. I am an experience-based training and development specialist. What does that mean? It means that I like to play games that get into the psychology of how people behave and misbehave. Typically we use the games because they cause people to forget how to behave the way they think they should behave, and they behave the way they are. And that accelerates the process of helping us recognize how we relate to them, how we communicate with them, how we disagree with them, how we have conflict with them, all that kind of stuff. We use that as an actual tool for learning through self-reflection. How can I change my relationship with this person? How can I listen better? How can I communicate more clearly to them? What are my weaknesses? What am I doing that's causing chaos around me? Right? So games, toys, props are all tools that facilitate that process. And I brought a couple today to kind of mess with you a little bit. That's how I entertain myself.
Yeah, so the context of what's going to happen today is that I'm going to take you through one habit. We can't talk about a lot of habits, but I'm going to take you through one habit that the top 2% performers in any industry have in common. And I'm going to talk about 3 things you could do to build that habit. Once I'm kind of done with that, I'll pass it on to Scott, and like he said, he's going to actually create a game around that. And then we'll kind of do a retrospect and kind of check in with you of what you got out of it. Does that sound cool? Yes? All right, great. So you might see this guy here up on the screen. How many know this guy? Oh, cool. All right. Awesome. So this is Brent. He has been doing high-performance coaching and leadership coaching for the past 10-15 years. He's, when you read about his life story, he's gone through a very dramatic event when he was 19. He almost died. He had a head-on collision in a car accident, and it was a turning point for him where he really wanted to live a bigger life and make a bigger difference. And so he's been working with CEOs, leaders, even presidents. He's worked with a lot of people over the 10-15 years. And in the last 3 years, he created this lab, this study, to kind of, figure out, well, who are top performers? They're not just born high performers. What do they do that's so different? What is the winning edge? And he actually used a lot of data, a lot of surveys, and worked with several universities to study these top performers, and came up with a report that was 1,500 pages long. And he figured, hey, that's a little bit too long for a book. So let me concise it. Let me make it more applicable and usable. So he narrowed down 6 habits that these top performers have, right? They all have it. 3 of those habits are personal habits, right? And I have a 5-minute video that he's going to be talking about all these. But the 3 are clarity, energy, and necessity. I'll talk a little bit more about those. So these are personal habits. And then there were social habits. So there were 3 social habits. And the social habits were productivity, influence, and courage. Right? If you have not heard of this book, it's his book, High Performance Habits. That's the concise summary of all his work that I highly recommend. I have 0 financial benefit from promoting him. I'm only promoting what works and what's been verified. I really trust this guy and I follow him myself. So I highly recommend that you go to his site, listen to his podcasts. He's got a lot of free content out there. But get the book. I think the book will be incredible. So today, I'm only going to cover clarity, right? We're going to touch base on a few things that you could do to increase your clarity. So in your definition, when you hear that, when you hear, okay, clarity, what does that mean to you? Any ideas?
Lack of distraction.
Lack of distraction, okay.
Clear understanding.
Clear understanding of
Whatever your task is.
the task, okay, your mission.
Know what you're doing.
Know what you're doing, yep. Clearly see there's a dot.
Clarity on expectations
Okay.
around success.
Very good. Expectations around success. So what is my expectation of success, right?
Or my manager, or of my stakeholders.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. What else? Clarity. There's no wrong answer. If you're going to be clear, what that actually means is that you have a picture in your head. See, one of the things I learned early on as a coach is that we actually think in pictures. If you don't have a clear picture in your head, it's most likely an area you're not performing well in. And one thing I can tell you is that if you have a goal and you're clear about the picture of the goal, you can see yourself in that picture, most likely you're going to attain that. But if you don't have a clear picture, it's really not going to happen. I can tell you that right now. Right? So Brendan says, okay, well, 3 things you could do that all top performers do when they want to increase their clarity. Number 1, increase or clarify your intention of who you want to be, of who you are. And it might sound simple, and kind of like overrated, but if you ask yourself, hey, what are the 3 words that best describe me? Right? So if you just think about that for a minute, what are the 3 words that best describe me? And it's a way of being. It's your intention of showing up, right? No matter what it is that you're doing. The time it's taking you to actually spit out those 3 words is showing how, what are the probabilities of your performance? Are you going to be a high performer or not? Why? Because what Brendan found out is that these top performers, they have it like the back of their hand. They're instantly clear on, the 3 things they're known for or who they want to be. They're setting a very clear intention. So that's how they show up in every meeting. That's how they show up in every project. That's how they show up in every relationship. Right? So, what if I actually came up with these 3 things and, okay, great, this was a great exercise, throw it away, we're done. How am I going to use this, right? So this is where you create mental triggers. You need mental triggers to remind you of who you are or who you want to be. For example, for me, the 3 words that I would think of are bold, inspiring, and giving. And so what I do is I could literally use my phone, reminders, right? Put a reminder in the morning, reminder at lunch, and reminder at night. And literally says, you are inspiring, bold, and giving. Because then, no matter what situation I'm dealing with, I'm coming back to who do I need to be here, right? There's going to be all kind of problems. There's all kind of challenges. There's all kind of difficult people to deal with. But who do I need to be? Okay, number one. Number two, what is your clarity as far as your intentions with others, your interactions with others, right? So prior to going to a meeting, right, with your manager or with your teammate, do you have a clear expectation of what does success look like to this person? Well, what does success look like to me? What do they need out of this meeting? And what do I need out of this meeting? So you're being a little bit more strategic. Does that make sense? And oftentimes we think we do that, but for example, we might do that all throughout the work day. Here you are, you're driving back home, right? You're going back home, and then now you're talking to your spouse on a challenge or something that you're dealing with at home, but you jump right into it. And what's going to happen is that you're going to start reacting, and it's really not going to end up with a result that you truly want. Instead, you just ask yourself, okay, what does my spouse want out of this conversation, or what does he or she want out of this, and what do I want out of this? This is going to help you actually look at what is success going to look like coming back to the picture. Then if you're clear on the picture of the outcome, your actions and behavior is going to align accordingly. Right? Does that make sense? The third one that you can apply immediately is, well, okay, so I've talked about who do I need to be, what are others' expectations, but then really ask yourself, you've succeeded in the past. You actually performed really well in the past in one thing or another. So ask yourself, what are 3 things that you did when you succeeded that well? Right? So, for me, it was like, okay, this project that I did really well on, but what was it that I did different there? Right? I know that back then, there were a lot of unknowns. I decided to still act, still find a way, still find a solution, regardless of what limitations I have. And that really helped me get the results I got. So that was a clear indication. And then you gotta ask yourself, do I do that every time? Right? Because then if you're clear on what worked for you, do you use it every time? Do you consciously bring it to the table? Right? So think about that. And I just wanted to pass those 3 things along to you because you could literally make a shift in your results. And they're very simple. Who do I want to be? What are my intentions with interactions with others? Right? And what has worked for me in the past? Can I bring that back and use it again? You absolutely can. That's the answer. But you got to know what those are. Right? So, what are your thoughts? What are you guys thinking about? When you hear all this, what are you thinking of? Are you thinking, this is nice, fluffy stuff that I can't really see how I can apply it? Or are you thinking, interesting, maybe I can apply this?
I love the daily reminders. I think those are just awesome.
Right. Yeah, and it's more about systemizing it until it's subconscious, right? Because, like reading this book. I can read this book once. I'm not going to get the majority of the book. In fact, probably 94% of the book I'm not going to get. Why? Because it's not subconscious yet. But systemizing something to remind you is what's going to actually do it. So what's easier than putting a reminder, right? And you could put the same thing for the other pointers. Like, you could put a reminder of what's my intention with others today on your phone, right? Or put a reminder once a week to say, these are the 3 things that always work for me, right? What else? What are you observing?
Clarity is number one or
By far, clarity is number one, yes. If you don't have clarity, don't even bother with the rest.
I have the right attitude and just if I have the right attitude, then all the things will flow on, like confidence, clarity. If I'm not paying attention to you, then the clarity will always not be there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think having an attitude of wanting to win.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you're not even willing to play the game or win, then really nothing is going to matter, right? But what Brandon did is, you know, I don't know how many like attributes. There were like 1,500 different metrics, and a lot of things where people thought, yes, this is the one that top performers have, were one. You know, a lot of things like, for example, gratitude. Gratitude is a great thing, but it turned out it's not part of the top 6, right? It's not what distinguishes top performers. So clarity, you know, about who you are, what you want, what others want, what works for you, it is really, top performers have it in the back of their hand. They're very clear on that.
That's a pretty big eliminating factor, though, isn't it? Like, where you know, who you want to be, what percentage of people out there really want
Well, you want to answer that, Scott? You wanted to answer that?
I do exactly.
No, I think in certain environments you find a lot more people, but out in the world, that's probably a big factor that sets apart top performers, right? That actually I can say I probably remember who I want to be, but I couldn't say that for a very long time.
I think conviction is the driver.
People that I know.
I want to get to that place, and so everything that I do should be moving to that direction, to that spot.
Right. And it's really not about answering what do I want to do, right? Yeah, it's exactly. So for me, it's okay, being bold. What does that mean? Perfect example. Like I walked away from a 6-figure income, pretty much guaranteed career, to do what I love, right? So that to me was a bold move. And it's not to impress other people, it's to satisfy who I am and who I want to be. And I think it's a cool exercise. Like if you actually just think about it, that exercise of just thinking about it is going to make you feel good.
I guess my point is more that I see that really, really applicable for top performers, right? Who probably already know who they want to be, but how do you supply them?
So good question. Well, that's where you got to seek people that will draw it out of you, because it's not out there; it's already in you, right?
I believe that.
Yeah, and that's truly why I'm in coaching, because in coaching I'm not adding anything to people; I'm just drawing it out of them. And it's magical what can happen when you literally bring another human being to tell you what others are not willing to say. Right? Because we're raised to be pleasers. We're raised to be nice. So when it comes to telling you what you need to hear, because probably a blind spot, right? A lot of people shy away from that. Right? But there's always 1 or 2 people in your life that are willing to tell it to you, they have no problem with that, right? They'll call you BS, right? And that's who you want to talk to, right? All right, I'm going to run a 5-minute video of Brendan talking about the book and these habits, so it just kind of resonates a little bit more for you. And then I'm going to pass it on to Scott. We're going to play a game. Cool?
We've all heard that phrase, change your habits, change your life, right? You've probably heard that. But here's my question for you. Which habits matter the most in changing your life and helping you achieve long-term success? Specifically, because we know lots of people who have good habits, right? And yet they see other people pass them by. Some people have good health habits, and yet they're wiped out by Wednesday. Some people have good habits in their relationships, but they can't get some people to believe in them or buy from them or support them. Sometimes you have good, habits in productivity. You're organized and you're staying on track and you're trying to be focused, and yet you see these other people pass you by. Like, what's the difference? How do you reach heightened and sustained success over the long term? My name is Brent, and I'm the author of this new book called High Performance Habits: How Extraordinary People Become That Way. And I've been blessed to spend the last 10 years as a professional certified high performance coach, working with some of the most influential people in the world, and I've been able to decode exactly what makes them so unique. And over the last 3 years, we just completed one of the world's largest studies of high performers with data from over 190 countries. What is it that high performers are doing differently than everybody else? Because it does matter which habits you do, which ones first, which order, and what practices you use to sustain them on purpose. Because the habits that make you extraordinary aren't habits that you're just unconsciously good at. It's that what we found from high performers from, again, one of the world's largest studies ever done, was that they were practicing what we call deliberate habits. These were habits that they had to consistently practice consciously and conscientiously in order to keep outperforming their peers. And let me tell you about those 6 habits. The first habit of high performance is to seek clarity consistently. High performers are just asking themselves questions more often about who they want to be, how they want to interact with other people, what's important to focus on now, what would they find meaningful, what emotional qualities do they want to experience in their life. And because they're consistently asking those questions, they're getting better results than others. But you and I both know sometimes having clarity is hard. What's the right next decision for you and your family? If you have 2 good opportunities, which one do you choose? That's the topic of the chapter on clarity in my book. The second big habit for high performers is to generate energy. High performers do have greater levels of mental focus and stamina, greater positive range of emotions, and greater physical vitality and health. But how do they get that? Why is it that high performers don't burn out? You'll find that on the chapter of generating energy. The third habit of high performance is to raise performance necessity. In other words, they're getting themselves in the zone, but they're doing it in a specific way, using very specific sort of mental ninjutsu. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. The fourth habit of high performance is to increase productivity. Something I know you already know you need to do, but we struggle with. You get distracted, you forget what to focus on, you feel like you're not being as effective as you can, you're finishing the week with so many things that you didn't get done. Why? It's not because you're lazy, it's not because you're not a hard worker, and it's not because you're not smart. It's because high performers identified their primary field of interest. And then in that primary field of interest, they found what is most relevant or different for them to focus on, and then they give 60% of their week to that PQO, creating prolific quality output. I'll teach you how to do that in the productivity chapter of my new book, High Performance Habits. The fifth big habit is to develop influence. How many people do you know who are passionate, who practice a lot and prepare a lot and who persevere, but they're not breaking through because they can't influence other people to believe in them, buy from them, support them, invest in them, champion on their way. They don't know how to lead others, even if they're a good individual contributor, so they never rise to the top. High performers figure out how to develop influence, and I break down their practices for doing that with other people in the chapter on influence. And the last high performance habit is to demonstrate courage. High performers speak their truth more often, meaning they share what they think, feel, need, desire, dream of, want, need help with, more than other people. They're great leaders who are living courageous lives. But the question of all this is how? Well, that's why I wrote this book. This is the moment of time when you can choose to start focusing on the things that matter the most so you can achieve sustained long-term success in your health, in your personal relationships, and your business and your career. And I'd be honored to help you do that.
I'm going to give it to you for free. And I'm not going to try to sell you anything in the process. I want everybody to please, I'm going to invite you to grab a piece of paper. Anybody who wants to play with me. Okay. You pass them on back.
Just one paper.
One piece of paper per person.
You got one.
If you want to play.
Yeah.
All right. You're gonna need your hands free for this, so go ahead and set your devices down. What is experiential learning? Does anybody know? That's saying the same thing backwards. But yeah. When you get a new app on your phone, do you read a manual on how to do it? Or do you just dive into the app and start exploring settings and all that kind of stuff? Does anybody have Carrot on their phone? Nobody has Carrot? All right, well, it's a fun one. It's a weather app that constantly is trying to kill you. So like it's rude, obnoxious, mean, cruel, all the time. It's really bizarre. Anyway, I want you to take this piece of paper. We're going to go through a little experiment. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Nobody's going to come poke you in the head or anything like that. Totally. And I want you to listen to the instructions that I give you. And I want you to do your best to follow them. Okay? If you have questions about an instruction that you're hearing, feel free to ask questions. This is the whole gain clarity thing. More people? Oh. Can you hear me okay? I'm not going to use this. I'm pretty loud. And so I want you to take this piece of paper and I want you to, with your eyes closed, you're going to put it in the horizontal position, the landscape position. Okay? And your eyes will be closed throughout the whole activity. Once you have this in the landscape position, I want you to fold it short end to short end. Right? Your eyes closed, no peeking, got integrity here. So we had our piece of paper, we put it in the landscape position, we folded it in half, short end to short end, and now what we're going to do is we're going to fold it again, short end to short end.
New short end,
Describe new short end.
the shorter side, or the side that was shorter before folding.
The shorter side. Once you've accomplished that, I want you to find the upper left corner to your piece of paper, and I want you to tear a 1-inch square out of it. 1-inch square out of the upper left-hand corner of your piece of paper. And I want you to find the lower left-hand corner, and I want you to tear a 1-inch square out of that.
Lower right hand corner.
Left. Okay. Once you've done that, I want you to unfold your page all the way, and then I want you to fold it again, but this time I want you to fold it short end to short end by thirds. Short end to short end by thirds. Short end to short end by thirds. So you're going to unfold it first. After you've torn it, you're going to unfold it all the way, put it back in the landscape position, and then fold it by thirds. Short end to short end.
You define what the short end is?
Short end would be the 8.5 measurement side of the page versus the 11 inch side of the page. Understand?
Which is short end to short end.
That would be 8.5 to 8.5. If we look at the piece of paper, there's two measurements on it, right? One is 8.5, the other one's 11.2, I think, or 11.25. So we're folding 8.5 to 8.5 in thirds.
When you say fold into thirds, do you mean like fold it over each other or like fold like
So
Like a brochure, right?
like a brochure, yeah. And I'm going short end to short end. Once I've done that, I'm going to hold the piece of paper in front of me again in the landscape or horizontal position. And then I'm going to find the top center, the very top center of it, and I'm going to tear a circle the size of a quarter out of it. Top center. Once you've done that, unfold your paper all the way, open your eyes, and take a look at what you've created. Now, what I'd like you to do is hold it up. Go ahead and stand up and go find the person that has the exact same tears and the same configuration as you. Unfold it, get up, go look around. Go see what other people have done. Find the person who has the identical tear configuration as you.
Wow, yours is pretty precise.
But not the same.
Not the same. Close. Close. Not even close.
He actually is close. What happened?
All right. Anybody find anybody? I would be stunned if they did. It's possible to find similar, but it's not possible to find identical. Right? Why is that? We all hear different things even though we're hearing the same thing. We all process it and translate it differently in our heads. Right? People are complicated. I am not. Right? You are not complicated, are you? Others are complicated. It's a tendency of our brain to think of ourselves as fairly normal. Right? The way that I see the world is my norm. It's my norm. Right? So when I interact with other people, if I'm not working to really super clarify what we're talking about, or the task we're working on, or the parameters, or what's being asked of me, or what expectations are being placed upon me, I am setting myself up for some problems. Right? All right. So now, what I'd like you to do is, does everybody have a pen with them? Pencil, pen? Doesn't matter. All right. So what I'd like you to do is I want you to take that piece of paper. Let's see, how many of us are there that are playing? 2. If you want to play, can I just see a hand so that I can count properly? Okay, we have enough. Let's grab, can somebody help me grab this table? We're going to do this, we're going to bring it up there. I make a mess. Cool, that's heavier than that. Yeah. What's the job of the coffee? Going around.
Not necessarily the
Going around. Not necessarily. Okay, everybody come up to the table. Come on up.
with the paper.
Nope. Forget the paper. I abandoned that.
Abandon the paper.
Come on over. It'll be worth your while. How many of you know each other?
Videotape that, Brent.
Everybody know each other? You do know each other? Okay. It doesn't really help you. I'm just curious to see how many total strangers I have, all right? So, I'm going to hand these cards out to you. You're not to look at them, okay? Don't show them to anybody. You can just grab your 3, but don't show them and don't look. Don't show them and don't look.
Oh, are you? We have an extra 3.
Sure. Oh, do you need?
I'll send you that.
I'm just going to add on to totally unofficially. Anybody else not have cards?
Oh, we're not looking.
So everybody can just reach out and grab an extra. Got your cards? Okay, remember, don't look at them and don't show them to anybody else yet. All right? You want to play? We got cards.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Just give them 3. Everybody, somebody toss them an extra card.
We're good. We're down here.
All right, back to you. Okay, so now what we have to do as a group is we have to figure out which card this is in the shortest amount of time possible. Okay?
Can we just turn it over?
That's the one thing you can't do. Okay. But it's very clever. Yes.
We can figure out what
Can we
are
just
the rest
organize
of
the
the
rest of the cards
Yeah.
by number?
Working together, you all have to figure out which card's missing. What is this card? Okay.
We organize them from.
Is this a proper setup?
Don't leave.
Do them by number.
Why don't we do it by suit and make it quick by
Why don't we
hand?
just
Let's
move
just
up
play
to
solitaire.
fight you have an ace, just raise your hand. And then we'll go 2, 3, 4, all the way up to kings.
Well, let's just make 4 piles by suit, and then everyone just rapidly counts, and then whichever one's missing is fine.
Going by number and seeing which has 3, not 4, is going to be faster.
So we have all the cards on the table,
Well, no, one card's missing.
but one card.
The one that.
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
So we
In my
have
pocket.
52 here?
What's that?
We have 52 cards over here?
Yes, I'm not tricking you. There's a full deck of cards. There's one card missing. It's in my pocket.
All right, well,
Okay.
let's start something,
now,
guys, because
here's the
talking
point,
about it's
is
gonna
that
waste time.
how are you going to talk to each other? How are you going to, like, what have we heard so far? Idea, 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 idea. Some people nod, some people don't. Right?
I'm still trying to make sure there's no trick involved. But all right.
There's no trick involved. I'm not tricking
We
you.
can just start turning
It
over and
simply
start
is what it
summarizing
is.
them, right?
Yes,
I think
but
the
the goal
fastest
is we're
way-
trying to do it as fast as possible.
Fastest way would be to verbally do
I-
it rather than
I agree
try
with
to
him on that.
lay it out.
Because even if you lay it out, you have to go
Large
through it
table, a lot of
again.
people.
This way, it's just one time through and we're done.
I like that.
So we're gonna do it verbally by number.
By number and
Yeah.
suit.
Oh, like
Just
call
by
out
number,
one?
and
Yeah,
if
like-
there's not 4 people, then you know.
Yes.
Yeah, so like ace of diamonds, someone have it, someone do 2, and go all the way through the whole deck.
It'll be
Until we
faster if you
miss
just
it.
say 3, and then if only 3, if
Oh yeah, that's
I know
even
your
better.
voice of
Yeah.
concern with
And we
us.
figure out which one's missing then.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
I don't know, I would just start laying out cards.
So yeah,
So yeah,
we do
let's go.
ace.
Yeah,
Can we just start doing that? If there's king of queen.
No, we haven't started yet.
Oh, we can't start yet.
I think the most effective way is going to be to agree on one thing, and then we all just do that. Yeah. So if
Because
we want
I
to call
make it that
aces,
way.
and everyone, whoever has an ace, raise your hand and find
Yeah.
the one that only
And
3
when we
people
have
raise
three
for.
hands raised,
Yeah.
we'll figure out the,
Good call.
the suit.
Okay, who
Awesome.
wants to be in charge of calling out the suit or the cards?
Let's just
Are we
do it.
looking at all of our cards?
Not
When
yet.
he says so.
When we're going to start, we'll do
Ace,
whatever
2,
you're going to
3,
come up
4.
with as a plan.
But she asked a great question.
Yeah, we need one person just so we're not having a bunch of people throwing out different
Why don't
numbers.
you
I nominate you.
Yes.
Delegation.
You've been voluntold.
Okay. And then raise your hand.
Just
and
raise
then
your
we'll-
hand.
And then we'll count.
Yes.
And- Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready, go.
Go. Ace.
1, 2, 3, 4. Next
Okay.
number.
2.
2, 3.
3.
Okay, so.
All right,
So
guys,
what
let's
twos do you guys have?
put the
Let's
twos
lay them
out.
down.
Put them on the table. Quick, 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 quick.
2 diamonds.
2
Diamonds.
diamonds.
That's what you have.
Bang. 14 seconds.
God.
Yeah! Bring it! Let's go to the casino.
All right.
All right.
That just makes
What has the last 3.5 minutes of your life caused you to think about? Last 3.5, well, 4 minutes now.
How to organize a large
Work
group of
as a
people.
Collaboration.
Cooperation,
work as a team.
work as a team,
How to organize a large group of people.
strangers, too.
Take an abstract problem and then create like a little plan.
Convince what you
Open
want
up
to do.
to opinions.
Teamwork, what? Nominate, delegate.
It's interesting 'cause
Influence.
we don't know each other. So usually in a corporate setting, there's somebody who's more senior who will people will look to say, what's the process? It's a little different because none of us know each other, so we're kind of all looking for like someone to step up. So there was some like hesitation on exactly the decision making, and then other follow-ups on that.
And everybody here has a personality type. You all familiar with this concept? True Colors, Myers-Briggs, DISC, it's Insights Discovery. There's these tools that talk about our preferences as a person. That is the first driver, right? If we stand still long enough, there's a certain type of person that will just say, well, I'm taking charge, right? They'll just step forward. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we can't stand still anymore, right? It's driving me nuts. So you have that. There's that person that's going to influence what's going on in the group. Right? And again, this for that person is a test in a way of how mindful am I being of myself? How is myself influencing others? Well, I'm going crazy standing still, so I want to influence others, so I'm going to jump in. Right? Here's what we should do. And then people are like, yeah, no. Like, well, why not? Or she's like, why not? right? So then it becomes a debate in a way, because that's that person's preference for how you problem solve. Let's jump in, unknown, let's debate. Right? And other people are like, no, we don't. There's another personality type that says, well, can we use a calculator? Right? There's another person so you have people who are thinking about this from an engineering perspective. There's got to be a mathematical solution to it. You've got people who just want action. You've got people who want to make sure that everybody's included, whatever we do.
Emotional.
Right? And then you've got this one special personality that already knows how to do it, right? That has done it in the past and remembers how to do it now. How many people have been to a team building event before, right? Any kind of team building event. There's always somebody at that who's done something like it before, right? And they remember some aspect of it. They may not remember the whole thing, but they'll bring information to the group. You ever had those rope handcuffs on before? And you have to like figure out how to disentangle from another person. And you look at it and you're like, there's no way out. So we end up kind of stepping through each other's personal space, trying to figure it, but we always end up back in the same spot. Someone always has some experience with it, and they go, this is like those nail puzzles that you have to get the interlocking nails to come apart. So they're bringing information to the group. It's a subconscious process, right? But what they're doing is they're helping us all work towards gaining perspective on the thing that we want to solve or the thing that we want to work on, right? And it doesn't matter if you take total strangers and do this. We all behave that way anyway, the way that we're kind of wired to, right? So, yeah. What went through your head from the paper one?
I was shocked that we had so many different shapes.
How many people were going, am I following these instructions right? As I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to fold the paper in half, right? Other people are like, wait. What's the measurement here? How does it go? Everybody has a different need in the way that we're communicating with one another. And some people, because we're new, our relationships are new, they're hesitant to ask questions, right? They don't want to be either the focus of attention, or they think, well, the game's just not really all that important. But they have conversation in their head, thing we call autocognitive process, which is that in our heads, we're constantly having a conversation running. Like right now, while I'm talking, you're having a conversation in your own head. Hear it? Yeah. Everybody has it going on. And the thing about gaining clarification and communication is that we have to slow our internal conversation down enough to actually have it align with the person we're talking to. That makes sense? Because if you're talking and I'm thinking, wow, he needs a haircut, right? And my brain can't let go of that. I'm not saying you need a haircut. If my started thinking, or my brain could be thinking, there's a tag on the inside of my shirt that's scratching me, right? So my brain is constantly getting annoyed by this thing, which distracts me from clarity in our communication with each other. So it's a bit like meditating. You have to like calm yourself for a second and then be really focused on the thing that you want to talk about. If you are still looking at your phone while someone's talking to you, brain doesn't work like that. We just can't, we will not be able to synchronize our expectations and our understanding of each other's needs or whatever. Right? So that's a lot of what these games are all about. They bring us to opportunities where we can talk about this stuff. Right? And that's kind of the magic of experiential learning, is that a simple pack of cards, we can use it, and there's like 5,000 games to play with this. Some of them we earn money, some of them we don't. Depends on how good you are. But there's so many ways that we can use everyday props and toys to simply focus our energy on a topic or on a concept, right? And that's my message, Paul, is that we can play more, we can play better, we can communicate better, but we need to take a moment to sort of center ourselves. Right? Even life's hectic, a million things to do, to-do lists, clock ticking, dog, all the things that I have to take care of, but I need to center myself at the moment for communication, right? And if I do that, that helps me jump well into this first category of gaining clarity. Okay. That's all I got.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Scott.
Awesome. So thank you, Scott. This was fun. I've never done this, so this was. We never even rehearsed this. We just did it on the fly. So I'm glad we did it that way, though. One thing I want to actually leave you guys with is, you can make a choice of whether you want to buy this book or not. It really doesn't impact me. But if you do, I highly recommend you find an accountability partner. Find someone that's willing to play a game with you, right? You both get the book, and then set aside 1 hour every day. It could be 3 days a week, it could be 5 days a week, it could be literally 7 days a week. You and your partner, in that 1 hour, preferably in the morning, spend the first 30 minutes co-reading with each other. Your mind will blow up as far as like what you will get out of it when you actually hear someone else reading while you trace with them. And then you just kind of switch back and forth. You say, okay, tag, read, they keep going, and whenever you want to stop, you tag back to them. That 30 minutes every day is going to help you to internalize the concepts in this book, whether it's about clarity or another topic. So they've got another 30 minutes. What do you do in those 30 minutes? Take one idea that you just read about and go apply it. Experiment, right? Say, hey, if it blows up in my face, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to go try it, right? By you trying it, you're applying what you learned. That's true learning. By just reading a book, I can tell you right now, don't bother. You're not going to learn. That's not learning. That's reading. It's different than learning. Learning is you take something you read, think about it, internalize it, and then go apply it. Once you apply it, right? Like for example, that cell phone idea, you gotta do that. Put 3 reminders for yourself. It's like 5 seconds, right? But then the next day, with your accountability partner, you say what you got out of it or what it shifted. What was the result of you doing that, right? And you literally experimenting every day. And if you play that game for 30 days and you love it and you see the results, you keep going, right? Very simple, fun, interactive, and will increase your awareness big time. One thing that I love about what Scott does, which is a completely different approach than mine, is that we're both kind of in the same business because we're creating self-awareness. We're helping people create self-awareness, right? He has his vehicle through games, right? And I have my vehicle through coaching. But the best you can do is elevate your awareness because that's really going to determine your results in life.
I'd say that a tie-in, what ties us, what connects us in an interesting way, is that development or even team building, if you want to talk about that phrase, doesn't exist without self-reflection. Development doesn't work without self-reflection. Team building doesn't work without self-reflection. Growth and development is reliant upon the fact that we're willing to take the time to self-reflect. That's how we learn things. Tying our shoes. Somebody can tell us, whatever. So we show us, we're like, okay, do that again, do that again, do that again, do that again. The only way you learn the shoe thing is by working very closely with somebody and practicing over and over and over and over again. And the whole time that you're doing it, you're going, well, that can't be right. That can't be right. That doesn't look right. It's too loose. It's falling apart. But you're 4 or 5, so you're not really, you don't have like intense conversation with yourself. It's all based in emotional, like I'm getting something emotional from my success. I'm getting something emotional from my failure.